You said that you love martial arts, but not necessarily fighting. What do you mean by
Yeah.
that?
I never enjoyed fighting. I never liked it, not even 1 second.
It became official on Saturday night. The great Georges St-Pierre will be inducted into the modern wing of the UFC Hall of Fame. George, has it sunk in yet? What exactly has happened?
Yeah, it's the greatest honor for someone when you retire, and wow, I'm very happy.
What have the last couple of days been like, knowing this honor has come, but also being in isolation?
Well, it's no different than everybody else. For me, I tried to be. I didn't bring any equipment at home. I didn't want to bring my work at home, so I tried to be creative and try to stay active, stay healthy, and a lot of cleaning, a lot of cooking, a lot of reading.
George, you mentioned it's one of the highest honors that you can get. Who have you thought about the last few days who've been such important parts of your journey?
There's a lot of people. I was fortunate to have the influence of a lot of good people and be at the right time at the right moment. I work very hard too. And of course, I'm born with certain predisposition, but the person I come in mind the most for me is my parents. My parents are the one that put me into the martial art when I was young, and that was the beginning of my career right there.
The beginning of a career. And it was during that time, George, it's really interesting when you think back on your journey. Even way before you were a star and a household name, you would jump on the bus to go from Montreal to New York to surround yourself with some of the best in the game, the best coaches. You worked with Freddie Roach, who was a good boxing coach. You wanted to be surrounded by those who could help you the most. What did you gain from going about it that way?
Well, I always believe in training, you need to step on your ego and train with the best. You know, it doesn't matter how you look in training, it matters how you look in a fight. And our sport is a mixture of different fighting, sport, and martial art. So it's impossible to be the best in one discipline. We're not specialists in one area. We're more like generalists. Of course, some guys are better at certain things than others. But for me, it's always been the idea of training in boxing with the best boxer, training in jiu-jitsu with the best jiu-jitsu, wrestle with the best wrestler in the world, karate with the best karate athlete in the world, gymnastics with the Olympic team, track and field with the Olympic team. Train with the best in every area, so it elevates my skills. And when I mix everything together, it makes me a more complete fighter.
Yeah, and it's really interesting that you say that, because one of the intriguing lines that you have had in your career, you said that you love martial arts, but not necessarily fighting. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. I never enjoyed fighting. I never liked it, not even 1 second. I never enjoyed 1 second of it. I love to win. When you win a fight, it's worth the sacrifice, because everything, it's like you put yourself into pain, then you have a pleasure. It's very hard to understand, but I've done it for basically 5 things. You know, I've not done it because I love to fight. I love of course, I was fortunate to have a certain talent. I was very good at it. So I would say I had the passion. I made a lot of money with it. It was also a lot of glory, woman, respect, freedom. I didn't do it because of fighting. I don't enjoy fighting. I enjoy the training, the what it gives you, what the life brings you.
Gotcha. It's a life that's brought you some up and downs too with the career. I mean, it wasn't smooth sailing the whole time. When you lost the UFC title the first time, it was to an 11-1 underdog. And that's when you really took a step back. You changed your team entirely. You reevaluated everything. What changed for you in your career when you went through that, George?
Well, I had to face my demon. You know, I had the worst humiliation in my life in terms of my career, and it was a big hit. You know, and I needed to step back and analyze why I lost. And not, when you lose, you can lose and be destroyed mentally, or you can see what you have done wrong and come back stronger. And I always thought that the two losses that I had in my career made me a much better fighter. And because I understood why I failed, and that mistake, I would never do it again. I'm the kind of guy that I make a mistake, I never repeat it again.
You also stepped away a couple of times, and you made the point, you've been very vulnerable and honest about your situation. You said, look, the pressure has gotten to me, and I just need to step away for a little while. What did you go through when you took those breaks? What was important for you when you took a pause to then come back and do it again?
Well, I was fighting a lot of things. It was a lot of pressure. I had personal issues, and also I was fighting against the drug, the anti-doping, you know, the performance-enhancing drugs. And I felt like the system was against me. Nobody wanted to be on my side, and I just need for my mental health to hang off the glove and to rejuvenate myself. That's what I did. And when I came back, I was very happy that UFC took the initiative to change things around. Now they implement testing. The sport is much, much, much cleaner than it used to be. It's still not perfect. And we've seen a lot of the star fall, you know. I'm glad the UFC took the initiative to do that, because I took a big hit as well. But they were willing to take the hit because they knew it was the right thing to do. So I'm very happy about that, and that's one of the reasons I came back.
So, George, when you did, I mean, nobody has defended the UFC welterweight title as many times as you. We have seen the sport evolve. We have seen it innovate, and yet you still remained at the top. How are you able to do that? How are you able to stay and compete at a high level, even as so many new guys, young guys are coming in who go about it differently than maybe others from your generation?
Well, you have to stay hungry. The satisfaction is the death for a competitor. Once you satisfy, you should never compete, because you're not gonna satisfy. You're not gonna be competing as good. So I was never satisfied. I always want to have more. And even when I was champion, I wanted to compete against myself, against the other champion, the other division, and that's the idea. You need to find yourself different challenge. And I was very fortunate enough that I had great opponent in my division. You know, that if you think about Mike Tyson, you think also about Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis. If you think of Muhammad Ali, you think about George Foreman, Fraser, Norton. You know, I was lucky that I had opponents that were worthy, that make the best out of me to come out. And by no means I'm trying to compare myself to Ali or any other guy, but I'm different in my sport. But I had a lot of success because I had great opponents. And even though we were very competitive and a lot of bad things have been said, I don't hold any grudge towards any of these guys. And right now I'm very thankful to have such a great challenge, to be in an era that had a great it was a great division, very stacked with a lot of challenges.
George, there's no question you are the most identifiable MMA fighter and UFC fighter that Canada has ever produced. You fight in Toronto at the Rogers Centre, 55,000 people come. If anybody was around downtown Montreal on a night Georges St-Pierre was fighting at the Bell Centre, it was a scene. Felt like a Montreal Canadiens playoff game, or maybe even a Stanley Cup game, with the atmosphere, with just the excitement that fans had. What does it mean to you that when people talk about your sport and your game, it's your name there and what you have been able to do to elevate and lift the sport and pack those arenas and stadiums the way you did?
It's great for me. I remember when I fought Matt Serra in Montreal Bell Center. Back in the day, the sport was not as well known as it is now. It was not as accepted. And I remember the newspaper that the day after the fight, in one of the newspaper, you see me on top of Matt Serra like this, and it's written, Georges St-Pierre overthrown Montreal Canadian for the record of assistance. And now they said the Barbarian overthrown Montreal Canadian for the record of assistance, the Barbarian. And I kept that newspaper article because it made me laugh. And Ferris and I now, my coach, we look at it now and we're laughing because it has changed so much over the years. And I'm very happy to be in part of that journey. You know, me and many others athletes, we try to make the sport look legit. And I try to give a good example and to conduct myself like a real professional athlete.
And you conducted yourself as a champion, and now headed to the UFC Hall of Fame in its modern wing. Georges, félicitations. Thank you for the time.
Thank you very much for all your support, guys. Thanks.